stored at 83%. Stored at 83%. So this morning I have tried to do a video conversion using my app, and I noticed that every time it gets to 83%, the video stops converting. I have done this the fifth time now in a row, and the video stops converting. So this, when it got to the third time, I already expected that it will stop at 83%. Then I waited and it happened. I did it a fourth time. It happened at 83%. Now coming to this fifth time, I last saw the counter at 79%, and I said if my eye catches it again at 83%, it's definitely going to stall at 83%. And right now it has been over 4 minutes at 83%, showing that it has also become stalled at 83%. So I want to reflect on being stalled at 83%. What is the significance of 83% in our ambitions, in our pursuits, in the effort we make for life, and in the chases, yes, everything we dream about? What is the significance of 83% in our lives, in our circles, the circles we go around? Yes, 83% is an alpha level of growth or ambition, an alpha level that we also see in academic pursuit. It is called excellence, yes. So 83% is already an excellent level. But if we can get stored at that level, when we have thought we have risen to a peak point, okay, of our accomplishments, of our achievements, then we need to reflect what goes above. So you can see here, the result says save, failed. Please choose a lower resolution or try again. And I just use the lowest resolution. So I started from a high resolution, 720 pixel. Then I reduced to 480 pixel. I did 480 pixel 3 times, and then I have gone to 120 pixel. I've done 120 pixel. This is the second time of doing 120 pixel, and yet the outcome still says failed. Failed. Choose a lower resolution. It's a video conversion failure. So this is a clear example of what I want us to reflect about. 83% stored at 83%. What can this really mean for us in our grand ambitions, in our chases, in our peak level of performance? Why do we reach a peak level and we stop? Okay, so putting this into life context, we notice that in life we grow and we get to a point and stop growing. I mean, talling, okay? We stop becoming tall at a point. Why don't we continue growing upward? We also reach a point in our age and we stop, okay? We start aging. Instead of becoming young, we become old. Why do we go through circles in life? I want us to find answers to these questions, search ourselves, and try to understand that life presents us with certain limits that call us to reflect. These limits are not there for no reason. These limits are there so that we can ask questions and find the answers. Perhaps these answers will help us resolve one of the fundamental problems of life, which is truncation of life. We die, okay? Why don't we live 1,000 years? And if we wanted to live 1,000 years, what could we do to change the order, okay, of dying at a certain age and we don't get to 1,000 years? So far in the history of mankind, we have not seen one human being that reached 1,000 years. So we can call all of us within this 83%, okay, of our ambitions, of our growth in life. How can we bypass 83%? How can we grow above 83%? How can we achieve above 83%? What is 100% ahead of us that we have not achieved yet? Is that the mark of perfection? Can we not chase perfection? Can we not achieve perfection? Let's reflect on this together and see what it can help us to discover about our lives. If from this experiment with video conversion, an error, of course, is responsible for why this gets stored at 83%. So if I continue to repeat it again and again, I will keep getting the same result of 83%. Okay, so which means I must fix the problem. In life, Can we fix the problem that keeps us stalled? Can we find our point, pick points where we reach and we start going downwards and start fixing, finding steps, okay? Finding ladders that will take us above those levels. How can we build bridges above the limits that we have reached in life to cross them? Okay? On Earth, we experience the limit of gravity. We reach a point that we can no longer push ourselves, okay? We can no longer move fast. We can no longer pull up. Okay? We remain struggling. Can we fix this problem in life? Stored at 83% cause us to reflect about life in general. Life in general. We cannot just turn a blind eye to why we are not growing beyond certain levels in life. Okay, let's look at the achievement of the man Elon Musk. Okay, it has taken human generation 6,000 years. Yes, humanity 6,000 years to produce a number of trillions in net worth. Okay, in US dollar valuation, trillions in net worth in US dollar valuation. Only one man has achieved that out of how many billions of humans on Earth. One person out of billions of human beings have achieved $1 trillion valuation and is going above that. Only one person. So why did it take up to 7,000 years for that record to be achieved? This still points to the point that we are all ignoring some of the fundamental limitations, okay, that our lives are defined and characterized by. We are ignoring, we are turning a blind eye to them. And until we face them squarely, we cannot achieve the next level. The next level may not be the small goal we have set to solve one problem and move to the next. We have fundamental problems that we all experience, okay, generally. We need to find the answer to why these problems persist. Why have we not solved this problem? Why have we not gone above them? So let us not think in a vacuum. Let us be specific. Name the areas of our lives where we have been stalled and find why. Why have we been stalled? So far, for this current app, I am thinking that the problem is the version of the app I'm using may have been upgraded. So I need an upgraded version. So I will go and check that. This is called troubleshooting, right? So apart from software, there are particular things in our lives that need to be troubleshooted. It is not only technology that can be fixed when there are glitches. Our lives have several glitches that we can also fix. But if we don't ask the question why, we cannot fix those glitches. Humanity has faced so many problems in history that we now see technological breakthroughs as the answer, right? So if we did not ask the questions about those problems philosophically, we will not have come to a scientific era where we are seeing easier approaches to things that we thought before to be impossible enigmas. But today they are now resolved because technology makes things easier. Let's look back into our lives also and see areas individually and collectively where we are not growing, where we have been stalled, where we have been living in stagnation, and find what are those things keeping us from growing past those levels. Can we even fix the problem of tallness? How is it that we reach a point of growth and we stop growing taller? That is a big point. We can ask those questions. What's the tallest height a human being has achieved? Why can't we grow taller? In fact, I would like an experiment where if one could reach 100 years, okay, instead of losing, okay, vitality, which results in mortality, he gains new heights. What if we could tweak our DNA to the point where we reach 100 years, okay, mark one new generation, and we add a new height. Instead of going low, okay, losing vitality, we gain height. Can we change something about our making, okay, how we have been made, that will allow us to live 1,000 years? I'm putting this as an example. Okay, if we wanted to live 1,000 years, how about when we reach 7 feet tall, stay at 7 feet tall, at 100, every 100 we add 1 feet. So which means that for 7 feet from the first 100, we add 1 feet to the next 900. That means we are going to have total of 15 feet tall. If that could be a reversal of the vitality problem that we have at 100, where we start aging, we start growing taller. That can give us, okay, and give us a clue that so many things we need to start answering the questions about them. Why do we get stored at this one? Ask ourselves individually and ask ourselves collectively, so that we can start changing the status quo of limitations, yes, of limits. Some of these limits we did not set it for ourselves. Some of these limits we have lived on them in the environment we find ourselves and the people we have grown up with, the things we have been taught in education, the things we see around us as laws. Laws themselves are limits. Is that not so? Good. The same thing also with knowledge. Our knowledge has limits. Okay, the technology we use currently has its limits. We have bandwidth limits. Okay, we have space limits in terms of storage space limit. Okay, then we have size limits. There is a infinitesimal limit. That's a limit of reduction of scale to a smaller occupation of land mass or space that we cannot go beyond. How do we go into the lowest limit of smallness? Okay, just as we have height, we also have the smallest limit that we can go. We also have the highest limit that we can go. So we are usually in the middle, and sometimes we have not been able to name the points between, okay, our existence. We have not named the point, just like the Achilles heel, okay, of moving from 1 to 0. Okay, the earlier mathematicians struggling with the Pythagorean principle. Okay, these people were struggling with the problem of numbers, infinite numbers. Okay, Xenophanes and the others, they struggle with this problem. Others struggle with the problem of change. Okay, what is permanence and what is changing? Okay, we in our world today have seen new limits that we need to struggle to understand. Why do these limits exist? Okay, I will give another example. The discovery of the color white in nature. Let's look at how nature places white. Do we immediately discover white around us? If you look carefully, you notice that the color white is a hidden color. It is covered up. Why does nature cover up the color white? Now let's dig into nature and find out where do we discover the color white in nature. Start with the eyes instead that we use to search. The eyes are usually covered with a lid. Okay, your eyelid covers your eye. If you don't open them, no one will see that your eyeballs are white. You see that, right? And yet this white can get stained. Let's look at our bones. From the teeth. The teeth is covered by the lips. You can see that, right? So if you do not open your mouth, no one will see that your teeth are white. You see? And then the teeth shoot from the gum. The gum also hide them biologically from the start of your growth as a child. You see? Then what about the bones? The bones are covered with flesh. The bones themselves are white. If you do not peel off the skin, you will not see that you have white bones. How do you see that? Then let's look outside of our body. What other things in nature reveal the color white? In fact, we have most of the intriguing things in nature, like coconuts. See the white edible part of coconut. You see that the side that produces the coconut oil is covered up with a harsh skin. A harsh skin and a hard nut, okay, that you have to crack open to discover the whitish substance of coconut, which is almost the most protected substance that has a white color hidden in nature. Let's look around us and see how white has been hidden. What lesson does it teach us? Why is white hidden in nature? Why is white not just presented? That means there is something important about the color white, which means if we were to find out more about everything that is white in nature, we could discover some answers to some of the problems around us. And if we tap into the function of white in nature, we could discover the solution to a lot of things around us. This is an example, okay? I would have called it philosophical albusiology. That is a philosophical reflection on the study of white as a color in nature. We can also develop new areas of research to solve the problems around us of limitations that we can name. just like we had named the limitation of the force called gravity that keeps us standing on earth and doesn't allow us to push ourselves beyond, okay, the surface where gravity has a strong force, okay, holding us back. That also can be extended to every other aspect of our life. Let us find this limit around us. The 83% limit is very significant. Why I am reflecting on it from my video conversion exercise, it applies to life in general. 83% limit. Let's find how we are limited to 83% in life that we don't get to 100% and see if our lives will not get transformed and we don't transition to the next level.